الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, no doubt we are all facing the news of this coronavirus which is spreading across the world, which has now become from an epidemic to a pandemic, about which the chief medical advisor to the president, to the prime minister, says that they expect in the worst case scenario 500,000 people in the UK to die. They say that we are 4 weeks behind Italy before we reach the state of emergency of Italy. Now, we don't know, brothers and sisters, whether this is something of just fear-mongering or if it is reality. But what we do know is two things. That number one, it's here. It exists. The virus, this, or we term it as a plague, the pandemic, it's here. The second thing we do know is that we must err on the side of precaution. We have no choice. Because in Islam, the sanctity of blood, of saving life, is above everything. To the point that every other obligation drops, is put aside if it comes to the loss of life. So for this reason, I put together some 6 precautions which we Muslims should take or think about and implement. The first, my brothers, is before we can enter these 6 precautions as Muslims and think about them, we have to establish and adorn ourselves with a particular quality. And that quality is being a faqir in Allah, being poor, weak in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Accepting that, adorning yourself with this, behaving like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, Ya ayyuhan nasu, antumul fuqara'u ila Allah, wallahu huwa al-ghaniyul hamid. O people, you are the ones in need of Allah. You are poor in the sight of Allah. You need Allah. As for Allah, He is self-sufficient, immensely praiseworthy. When we understand that we are so poor that we need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then these 6 advices that I will give you, inshallah ta'ala, will benefit you. The first, my brothers, is that we must accept the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Accepting the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something we must adorn ourselves with, because we don't know what the future is going to bring to us in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whenever. We don't know if we're going to die or our loved ones are going to die. We don't know what the situation is going to be. So from now, we must think about the decree of Allah, the predestination. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, إِنَّ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ خَلَقْنَاهُ بِقَدْرٍ. And He also said, قَدْ جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدْرًا. Which means that indeed, all things we created are predetermined. Everything that we created has been decreed. So from the very fact that we are alive and healthy today, that was the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our wives give birth to children, to babies, is the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The risk, the sustenance we have is from the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Illnesses, bacteria, viruses, plague, all of it, my brothers, was decreed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we must accept this. Because if we accept this, then you have nothing left to do except one thing. Accept it and be patient and forbear it. This is what is expected from those who truly believe in the qadr, the sixth pillar of Iman. This, my brothers, now is a test of our Iman. We say we believe in Allah, His messengers, His books, His life after death, the angels. But now is a test of qadr. How much are we going to accept this? If it strikes us, if it harms us, if it affects our loved ones, and so on and so forth. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also said, strange, the situation of a believer is always good. So whatever the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, the situation is always good. If some good befalls the slave of Allah, he thanks Allah and he's happy and he's pleased. But if hardship, difficulty, illness, catastrophe, calamity falls upon him, he's patient and forbearing, and he hopes for his reward from Allah. So in either way, he's rewarded from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My brothers in Islam, when the heart is filled, full to the top with belief in the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then one will know that the order is for Him alone and the rule is for Him alone. And then what will happen is for us to accept what He brings forth on this earth. The Sahaba, my brothers, they used to view the plague as a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Salaf, they never despaired when there was a plague or widespread illness. If there was calamity around them, they never despair. They never became anxiety. They never became worried or stressed. They viewed this as a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was because of their firm belief in one thing, in one particular thing. And that was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more merciful to His slaves than their own mothers. That we know from the hadith of the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that verily Allah's mercy is 99 parts. Only one part is on this earth by which He provides and sustains even the disbelievers and the animals. And 99 parts of His mercy is reserved for who? The believers only. When? In the hereafter, on the day of judgment. That's when Allah will show him and give him His mercy. We know from a hadith, after one of the battles, the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, they saw a woman running around the battle, very, very anxiously, looking, where's my son, my son, my son, her child, in the battlefield. And then she found the son, 2 years old, put him to her breast and began to breastfeed him, and was so relieved. And Allah's Messenger ﷺ said to the companions, do you think that this woman would ever throw her child in the fire? They said, after what we just saw her, how frantically she ran and loved her child so much. No, never. He said, this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He does not want to throw you into the fire. But we, my brothers, we disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us be reflective over these matters. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said something. He said, every person has two angels with him, protecting him at all times, except for when the decree of Allah comes. When the decree of Allah comes, they step aside and let the decree deal with the person. So we have no choice in this matter, my brothers. We accept the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with patience. Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he said, trials are like hot and cold. So if the slave knows that he has to face one of them, be it hot or cold or both of them, he knows he has to face them, he does not become angry. He's not anxious or sad. He faces them with patience and forbearance. Mu'adh ibn Jabal, rahimahullah, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. You know Mu'adh ibn Jabal, famous companion. he was in Syria during the plague. He stood on the minbar and he made a khutbah. And he said in his khutbah, he said, "O my people, this plague is a mercy to you all from your Lord. And it is the dua of your Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And many righteous people before you have died in this way." And then he raised his hands and he said, "Oh Allah, give a portion of this mercy to the family of Mu'adh." Exactly 1 week. In 1 week, 2 of his female families died. And then one by one they all died. Until his son, the most beloved being on the earth to him, got the plague. And he also died in 1 week. All of them, his whole family died from one Jumah, from the Jumah when he made that dua, and by the next Jumah, they're all dead. His son, he said to him, before he died, "Oh my father, لا تكونن من الممترين." Don't be of those who are anxious and don't accept the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Mu'adh said to him, "Satajiduni insha'Allah min as-sabirin." You will find me, my son, from those who are patient. And then he died. And then Mu'adh ibn Jabal was the last person to die. So this is how they believed. It was a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they asked Allah for the mercy. And Allah gave it to them. We know that those who die in the plague are shaheed, martyrs. And we know this is a mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know every one of us are going to die anyway. Be it through cancer, heart attack, knocked over by a bus, or stabbed, or killed, or shot, whatever. But none of that will be shahada. But this, the plague, will be shahada, mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, my brothers, the second piece of advice is to increase in your tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَنْ يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. Whoever truly relies on Allah, puts his trust in Allah, not his trust in medication, doctors, physicians, not his trust in the BBC News or the president or the chief of medical in his country. No, no, no. We put our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And whoever does this, فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. That doesn't mean we don't take medication. Yes, we take medication. We take our precautions. But when it comes to delegating our affairs to somebody, who better is there to delegate your affairs of this worry, this anxiety, except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah said in the Quran, and where are we from this belief? قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبُنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا وَهُوَ مَوْلَانَا وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Say, never will we be struck by anything. Never will we be struck by anything except that which Allah has decreed for us to be struck in. So let the believers put their trust in Allah. So if you're a believer, put your trust in Allah and believe that you're not going to get this virus. You're going to be absolutely healthy and fine, and you're going to continue. Allah is your protector. And we move in that front. We put our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing will come to us except that which is decreed. And if it is decreed, we can't stop it. It's not going to go away. If Allah has decreed for us to be afflicted by this, we will catch this. We deal with this with patience and sabr and forbearance. And we see it as a mercy from Allah, a shahada from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we do not fear those people who spread gossip, fear-mongering amongst the community. We do not fear this. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that verily a strong believer is more better and more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than a weak believer. But in both of them there is good. So here, my brothers, our iman has to be strong. What he's talking about, he's not talking about here strong in muscles and body and physique. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is talking about strength in iman. That verily the stronger your iman is, the more beloved you are to Allah. And this is what we have to take care of, our iman. We have to return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this brings me on to my next third advice, which is repentance and turning back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahi, my brothers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to return to Him. And this is why we are facing this pandemic. This is why we are facing this huge plague, or whatever you want to call it. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is jolting us, waking you up. Wake up now. It's time to return to me. Worship me. Make me your priority. Make me your apple of your eye. Make me your objective. Because I am the one who gave you life, sustained you and provided for you and gave you everything. Yet you're worshipping the dunya. You're worshipping the creation, the money, the women, the fast cars, the music. You're worshipping other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything is important to you except me. So Allah jolts us. And He says in the Quran, ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس ليذيقهم بعد الذي عملوا لعلهم يرجعون. That corruption has spread on the earth. Evil has spread on the earth and the sea because of what man's own hands has sent forth of bad and evil and disobedience and injustice and harming and oppression. But Allah gives them this punishment, لِيُذِيقُهُمْ بَعْدَ الَّذِي عَمِلُوا, so they can, taste a bit of what they done. So what we're seeing now of this plague, my brothers, there's no doubt that this has come to us because of our own doings, our own distance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our disobedience, our turning away from His orders, His awamir, enjoining the good, forbidding the evil. It's out the window. We can't even do it on ourselves, let alone others. This is the state of the ummah right now. The following of our desires. The following of everything except Allah's law. We give supremacy to everything except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's law. Ibn Abbas rahimahullah radiyallahu anhu, he said, in the end of the verse where Allah said, لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ, that He gives us this taste of punishment so that we may turn back to Him. He said this turning back to Him means that they will repent. So Allah's hoping that you repent when He gives you these trials and these calamities. And also He said in another narration, meaning that they will stop their sin and return to Him in obedience. So this is what is required from us, brothers and sisters. This is how we should be facing this plague and this pandemic that is spreading all over UK. And then, my brothers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wants us to turn back to Him. He said, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَى أُمَمٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ فَأَخَذْنَاهُمْ بِالْبَأْسَاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَضَرَّعُونَ. This is another evidence in the Quran to show you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to go back to Him. He said that we have sent messengers to every nation before you, and then we seized them with poverty and hardship and calamity, that they might perhaps humble themselves and turn back to Allah. Have we not now? Was not the messenger sent to us, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Yes, we know his message. And then, were we not stricken with this plague, with this pandemic? Yes, we have. Why? Because Allah said in the end of the Quran, so you may humble yourself, so you may turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we miss one verse, and then the next verse he says, فَلَمَّا نَسُوا مَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ فَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ أَبْوَابُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَتَّى إِذَا فَرِحُوا بِمَا أُوتُوا أَخَذْنَاهُمْ بَغْتَةً فَإِذَا هُمْ مُبْلِسُونَ. And then, when they forgot us, after we had reminded them, when they forgot about our orders, our instructions, our awamir, our laws, after we had reminded them, we then opened for them everything in this dunya. We gave them cars, we gave them homes, we gave them food, we gave them wealth, we gave them wives, we gave them children, we gave them health, we gave them support, we gave them. And when they began to rejoice and be happy with what they've had, what they have, and they become content and at ease, we seized them. We took them when they least expected it. My brothers, are we going to be in that category of people? Or are we going to turn back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and turn our homes into masajids? Are we going to make a regime in our homes where our families are praying and fasting and reading Quran? Or are we going to be on that TV, watching the music and the haram and the whatnot, pastimes? This is what, my brothers, we have to think about today. Fourthly, my brothers, is we must take our precautions. Yes, we must take our precautions. Most of you probably got the messages which we sent out from the masjid. And today, after the salat, I will read them out to you. And we also have a janazah to pray, al-ghaib, today as well, which I'll tell you about later. But these are the instructions. You have to take your precautions. Go to the people of knowledge who have knowledge and take from them and know what to do in this situation. If you're confused, you're baffled, you're lost, you don't know what to do, you haven't had time to think about it, then you follow the instructions of what we give you from this masjid. Because we've looked into this, we've took expert advice, we've thought about this, we spent hours thinking about this. And based on the information, we put forward the advice that we put forward. But if, alhamdulillah, you're intelligent, you're able to know what to do, then alhamdulillah, continue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَلَا تُلْقُوا أَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى تَهْلُكَ. Do not throw yourselves into destruction. Meaning, don't just do things haphazardly in this pandemic. Do things carefully, with knowledge. Going back to the people who have this ilm, get the knowledge, think about it and make the right decisions. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, let not the person who is sick enter upon the person who is healthy. This is a hadith sahih. Let not the person who is sick enter upon the one who is healthy, not the other way around. Because we know healthy people can enter upon the sick if they want and get the ajr and visit the sick people. You know, you get the ajr, big reward. This is referring to the sick person. If you have a cough, you have flu, temperature, you have those signs, don't enter upon anybody. This is an instruction from your Nabi, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He also said in another hadith, flee from the plague like you flee from a lion. Flee from the plague like you flee from the lion. And this is what we're facing, a plague. A pandemic is synonymous to a plague. Every scholar I listened to over these last 2 weeks, they refer to this pandemic as a plague, using all the hadith of plague. So let's not be confused about this matter. Fifthly, my brothers, take your precautions. And fifthly was also about seeking knowledge. And I combined the two together. Taking your precautions fourth, and the fifth was to seek knowledge about the situation. Sixthly, and this is imperative, and this is very important. أقول لك الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم أما بعد. Sixthly, my brothers and sisters, is make dua. Dua is the most important thing of all the things we have to do. Because if we don't raise our hands now and make dua, when will we make dua, my brothers? How do you expect to save yourself and your loved ones? If not save yourselves and your loved ones, how do you expect to die in a good state? If you're going to die, if Allah has decreed for us death, how are we going to die in a good state until we connect with Allah, until we make dua and we ask Allah to give us a good ending, to take our lives with patience and our honor and our dignity, make us patience. Do you think patience just falls on you just like that? Or does it come from Allah? It comes from Allah, so you have to ask Him for it. Dua is imperative. Allah said in the Quran, "Ud'uni astajib lakum." Call upon me and I will answer you. Definite, no doubt. Silahul mu'min ad-du'a. That the weapon of a believer is his dua. Thirdly, Allah said, "Inna الَّذِينَ يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ عَنْ عِبَادَتِي سَيَدْخُلُونَ جَهَنَّمَ مَعَ الدَّاخِرِينَ." That those who think that they're self-sufficient and they don't need to make dua, they will be made or forced to enter into Jahannam with the disgraced ones. Maybe not in your heart you believe that, but from your actions, maybe we are doing that. Maybe we're showing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala we don't need to make dua. We're too busy. No, we can take care of ourselves. We can go to the pharmacy, get medicine. We can go to the doctor, we can go to the hospital. But God forbid if this pandemic takes off, you won't find no hospital to go to. You'll find no doctor to go to. You'll find no medicine to be given. And that's the advice right now. Right now, the advice is if you've got the symptoms, stay at home. Don't go to the pharmacy. Don't go to the doctors. Don't go to the hospital. Stay at home and die. That's the advice. Only go to the hospital if you're about to die. If you're about to die, you must stay at home. So my brothers, we are already in this situation. The dua is imperative. Also, there are other types of dua. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that I have not been given anything better to seek refuge in than these two. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق إلى الآخر الآية. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس to the end. These two short surahs are also du'as. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I have not been given anything better than these two as a protection or something to seek refuge in Allah with. And then there is another dua which Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said we should say every morning and every evening. Bismillah alladhi la yadurru ma'a ismihi shay'un fil ardi wa la fis samai, to the end of the dua. And the other one, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika, what's the dua, the second one? A'udhu bi kalimati Allahi tammati min kulli sharrin ma khalaqa. These two du'as, 3 times this, 3 times that, morning and evening. They are protections from you. They are protections for you from all evil. And then there is the specific dua which we should learn. Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-barasi wal-jununi wal-judami wal-sayl askami. This is a dua which says, oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from leprosy, insanity, mutilation, and from serious illness. This is a specific dua. So dua, my brothers, is imperative. We must not stop this. We must encourage one another to make dua. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by His most beautiful names and His attributes to save us and the Muslims around the world from this calamity. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us through this with sabr and patience, to save our loved ones, our children and our elderly. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give all of us in this room the ability to be able to follow the instructions that are given by this masjid. Why? Because these instructions will save lives. Allahumma ameen. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين وأقيموا الصلاة. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أهوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. هل أتاك حديث الغاشية وجوه يومئذ خاشعة عاملة ناصبة تسلى نارا حامية تسقى من عين عانية ليس لهم طعام إلا من ضريع لا يسمن ولا يغني من جوع وجوه يومئذ ناعمة لسعيها راضية في جنة عالية لا تسمع فيها لاغية فيها عين جارية فيها سرر مرفوعة وأكواب موضوعة ونمارق مصفوفة وزرابي مبثوثة أفلا ينظرون إلى الإبل كيف خلقت وإلى السماء كيف رفعت وإلى الجبال كيف نصبت وإلى الأرض كيف سطحت فذكر إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر إلا من تولى وكفر فيعذبه الله العذاب الأكبر إنا إلينا إيابهم ثم إن علينا حسابهم. الله أكبر.
So this announcement is from the trustees of Masjid al-Ghuraba, the Shura of Luton Islamic Center. It says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Dear brothers and sisters, you will have heard the change in the government rating today to the delay phase of this coronavirus. More than 29,000 people have been tested in the UK. 590 people have been infected. 10 people have died and more than 20 are in intensive care units. This is going to get significantly worse over the next 2 to 4 weeks based on the experience of other European countries.
The official health guidance is now anyone with new persistent coughs or a fever should self-isolate for 7 days. So you should self-isolate for 7 days and do not call 111 and do not contact any other health providers. This is what they are issuing as the guidance. They're saying if symptoms deteriorate and you feel you need medical care, you should then contact at 111. Testing will only be done for those in hospitals with severe symptoms as the virus becomes more prevalent. From our masjid point of view now, my brothers and sisters, we need you to follow these instructions now. And we expect them to be followed, and we will have to enforce them at times. Number one, the elderly, anybody over 60, or if they're under 60 but they have chronic health conditions like asthma, diabetes, heart disease, or anything like this, they should stay away from the masjid and they should pray their 5 daily prayers at home. It is permissible to pray your 5 daily prayers at home in these circumstances. It's even permissible for you to miss Jum'ah in these circumstances. In addition, they should not attend Jum'ah prayer and pray 4 rakat dhuhr at home. Basically, they should pray their prayers at home. This is for your own good and your safety and the welfare of others. Number two, if you have symptoms of fever and or cough, you should not attend the masjid. You should not attend the masjid or Jum'ah prayer. So we don't want to hear anybody in our congregation here coughing continuously. Okay? There is a risk you could infect others. Number three, wash your hands regularly, 20 seconds minimum, and especially prior to eating or after contact with others. So if you touch somebody's hand, you touch a handle or something, you must wash your hands. Avoid shaking hands, and I know this is difficult, I knew about this guidance. When I come in, I'm shaking brothers' hands here myself. But we have to stop this. We have to remind each other. If we don't remind each other, how are we going to stop it? If I reach out my hand to you, step back, say, brother, please. Alhamdulillah, I will understand. And I will never get offended. Same way, if you reach out your hand to me and I don't shake your hand, I walk back, don't be offended. This is for the well-being of each other, please, okay? Obviously, no kissing and close physical contact with others. If you have that habit of kissing people on the cheeks when you meet them, that's out the question completely. And no hugging neither. And for me, it's a natural thing to hug brothers. Very natural. But you have to stop me. And I will have to stop you. And you have to stop each other. Is that clear? This is for the well-being of everybody. All reminders in the masjid from today, after the prayer reminders, will stop. There's no more reminders. After every fard prayer at the masjid, we must disperse quickly. We must leave. We don't stay here. Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, go straight home. Pray your sunnah at home. Nobody is allowed to pray any sunnah in this masjid for now. Okay? Whether it's qabliya or after, you have to pray at home. Number 7, try and bring your own musalla. Put it on the masjid carpet here. Do you know, brothers, when you put your head and your nose on this masjid, the germs in this masjid stay there for maybe 3 to 5 days because it's fiber. It gets stuck inside, the fine fibers. So I forgot, what I normally do is if I've got a jacket, I take the jacket off, put it on the floor, and I do my sajda on the jacket if I have not got a musalla. So if you don't bring a musalla, take your jumper off, take your shirt off, but don't pray on this here. Is that clear? It's very, very important, brothers, you follow these instructions. Not only for your good, for our good and your family's good. Number 8, please make lots of dua. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in these difficult times. Ask Allah to protect all of us. Remember the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the dua of a brother for his brother in al-ghaib, in the unseen, is answered. So each one of us make dua for everybody, and not just everybody, but for the whole ummah of Islam around the world. Now we're moving on to cancellations and closures from Monday the 16th of March. All the Quran classes, Dar al-Quran, are going to come to a halt. Today is the last one. Monday, there's not going to be any Dar al-Quran until further notice, okay? We'll review this on a weekly basis. And if we're going to open, you'll know about it through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, phones, messages, WhatsApp, you'll know. All Sunday school classes with Sheikh Ahmed's class is cancelled. No Sunday school neither this weekend. Again, we'll be updating you if there's any changes to this. All weekly classes in the masjid are closed to the public. Rather, we will live stream on YouTube. So once the Sheikh Abu Sahib or whoever's doing the talk will be here, we'll put them on live stream, they'll be here on their own, and they'll do the lecture, and then they'll go home. No, the doors will be closed to the public. Nobody will be allowed here. After prayer, everybody has to leave. And if you want to attend the class, you look on YouTube, follow Luton Islamic Center on YouTube, and you can watch it, inshallah. And we will send out links also if you're on the WhatsApp group. Female, ladies, the female side, the ladies' side will be completely closed for all prayers, classes, and Jumah. So after today, no sisters will be allowed to pray in the prayer room, nor will they be allowed upstairs. They will not be allowed to attend any classes. Everything is closed for them. Why? Because it's not an obligation for women to attend the masjid in the first place. So we need to prevent the amount of spread of this virus. So they must stay at home and do the prayers at home and follow the classes we do over the YouTube and other social media. Number 5, Ramadan. Taraweeh prayer next month. We'll review this arrangement over the next 2-4 weeks, and we will let you know whether we're going to do this or not. At the moment, it looks highly unlikely that there's going to be any Taraweeh, but we will wait and see as time goes along. There will be no ittikaf whatsoever in this masjid, and there will be no iftar al-jama'i. No iftar in the masjid and no ittikaf in this masjid. So if you're thinking of applying, not in this masjid. Finally, the last thing I want to say now, brothers, you have to be prepared for sudden, drastic measures, such as the complete closure of the masjid, cancellation of even Jumah prayers, daily salat. We maybe even combine prayers, Maghrib and Isha together, Dhuhr and Asr together. All of this will happen in short notice, and it will happen suddenly, because we don't make these drastic decisions very easy. We have to monitor the situation, and trust me, brothers, every day we are monitoring. We're getting news, we're thinking, we're discussing, and for the best for all of us. So be prepared, inshallah, for complete closures, etc. So this would be a precaution measure to safeguard lives and to prevent the spread of infection. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, do not harm and do not be harmed. Do not harm one another and do not be harmed. This is in Sunnah Ibn Majah. So please, brothers, subscribe to our social media platforms. Jazakumullah khair. And please, inshallah, do not challenge any of what I've read out. Just please, inshallah, let's cooperate and make it easy for us as managers of this institution, and for you, brothers and the Muslimin. We don't take this threat of pandemic lightly, and we're not going to think of it as trivial. Why? Because this is a matter of life and death. In Islam, the loss of one life is like the loss of the whole of mankind. Saving one life is like saving the whole of mankind. So we will not take this lightly. We will err on the side of caution at all times. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, can we use this hand sanitizer that contains alcohol? Yes, you can use it. The reason why is because the alcohol is of a very small amount. It does not penetrate you, and it evaporates very, very, very quickly. So it's permissible to use that. That's one thing. Also, I'll read out some more hukam. Is it permissible for you to stay away from Salatul Jama'at? If you're worried, are you allowed to stay away from Salatul Jama'at or Jum'ah? Are you allowed? Just out of fear. You haven't got no illness, but you fear. The hukum is yes. If you're worried about yourself and your family and you want to pray at home, there are ulama that have clearly said this is permissible. That you stay at home and you pray at home through this pandemic. So that's regarding the prayer, and that's regarding the thing. If anybody got any other questions they want to ask, this is the time, because next week, Jummah, if we open for Jummah, it'll only be 15 minutes. The salat, the prayer, everything. In and then out. And you will be encouraged to leave quickly. And if you come early, they won't let you in. You might next week find crowds outside. And maybe 5 minutes just before the Jummah, everybody come in. Maybe we'll do it in. And then when we finish, 10 minutes and 15 minutes and gone. So these are the things that may happen, inshallah, or we may even close. We don't know yet. So has anybody got any questions they want to ask? Last thing, I've got a request, brothers, yeah? Allah forbid that this really actually goes the way that they're saying that is the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario they're saying is 500,000 people may die from this in UK. God forbid that ever happening, but even half of that figure, even a quarter of that figure is very, very, very bad. But if that happens, that means you're talking millions of people are affected. Yeah, and that's what I'm concerned about. Those that pass away, may Allah forgive them, whatever. But those that are affected, they will be staying at home. They will not be able to go out for their food, for medicine, for anything. So I'm putting together a team of brothers who want to be in service at that time if it ever happens. If you're interested in this, you need to see me and put your name and number on the back of here. Now those brothers, your man has to be strong. You'll be asked to go to people's houses to deliver food or medicine or take dead bodies from one place to another. We don't know what's going to happen. But if you have the iman and the taqwa to do this, my name is first, by the way. Whoever wants to be second can be second. And inshallah, we've got a second one, we've got a third one there. But you put your name and numbers here, inshallah, okay? Jazakumullah khair. Yeah. Yeah. The washing of the body, etc. Yep. This is a very, very. These are the things, brothers. Yeah. These are going to be very, very challenging and testing times here. If somebody dies, God forbid, someone from my family dies. May Allah give them all a long life, longer than mine. Allahumma ameen. But if they die, I am not allowed to go near them. Do you know this? I can't go near them. I'm family. If I go there, I'll contract it and give it to the rest of my family. You can't even do it neither. There has to be specific people covered and properly, and they will take the body. That's it. You may not even be able to be at a janazah because we can't gather. You may not even be able to go to the graveyard because we can't gather. We don't know what the situation will be. So if it happens that this comes to this, we have to put our trust in Allah, and we have to do what's right, and be patient with whatever comes. So these are things we've been thinking about. All these things, we looked at this, we looked at that, we looked at this. Tomorrow I'm going to go on a course about this specific thing, about funeral arrangements and death in these things. So if anybody wants to come with me, you come with me, inshallah, tomorrow evening. So the thing, my brothers, is, this is the time now. Okay, is there any other questions you want to ask? Okay, so brothers, please, inshallah, dua, lots of dua, and Salat al-Janazah, let's pray our Salat al-Janazah, sorry.